Hey guys, tonight we dive deep into a quiet space, a space where your breath slows, the world's noise fades to a gentle hum, and all that's left is you fully present and silent. You probably won't survive this without squirming a bit, because, let's be honest, sitting still and focusing inward isn't everyone's favorite pastime. But here's the secret: when you focus on yourself and stay silent, everything falls into place. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, drop your location and local time in the comments. I'm curious where in the world you're finding this moment of quiet with me. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You start by quieting your mind, which is easier said than done. Your thoughts dart around like moths to a flame, restless and relentless. But within that chaos lies a hidden calm waiting for your attention. This inner silence isn't empty. It's a fertile ground where clarity grows. Historically, Buddhist monks have practiced deep meditation for thousands of years, seeking this exact quiet. The Buddha himself taught that mental silence is the path to liberation. Historians still argue whether his meditations were primarily about silencing thoughts or cultivating insight beyond thought. Here's a quirky tidbit: some monks used physical discomfort, like sitting on beds of nails or biting their tongues, to break the mind's chatter. Talk about extreme focus techniques. You realize that by focusing on yourself and embracing silence, you create space for the universe to rearrange itself around you. The distractions fall away, and suddenly, life's pieces begin to slot together naturally. Tonight, settle into this quiet place and let yourself be present with nothing but your breath in this moment. You start to grasp the art of staying silent, not just the absence of words, but a powerful, active presence. Silence becomes your shield and your sword, cutting through the noise to reveal what truly matters. Think about the great sages and monks who embraced silence as a spiritual tool. The Desert Fathers of early Christianity lived in silence and solitude to deepen their connection with the divine. Historians still argue whether their silence was primarily for spiritual growth or as a means to escape social chaos. And here's a quirky fact: some monks used to communicate with elaborate hand signs, turning silence into a language of its own, kind of like the original emoji. You notice how silence isn't just about holding your tongue. It's about listening deeply and without distraction. When you stop speaking, you stop reacting impulsively. You gain clarity. Your mind calms. In your daily life, practicing silence might look like resisting the urge to respond immediately in a heated conversation, or simply spending a few moments alone without distractions. This creates a space where insights arise and your true self steps forward. Tonight, invite silence to be your companion. Notice how staying quiet strengthens your focus and aligns your inner world. You begin observing without reacting, watching your thoughts and emotions as if they were clouds passing through a vast open sky. This detached awareness transforms the way you engage with your inner world. Remember the practice of Vipassana meditation, which the Buddha taught as a way to see things clearly without attachment. Historians still argue whether Vipassana was taught early in Buddhist history or developed later as a distinct technique. A quirky note: some Vipassana practitioners observe their bodily sensations so minutely that they can detect the subtle twitch of a single hair, a level of mindfulness that might make even the most disciplined yogi raise an eyebrow. You notice how often your mind tries to grab hold of feelings, clinging to pleasure or pushing away discomfort. But by observing without reaction, you create space. Emotions rise and fall naturally, no longer dictating your actions. In your daily life, this might mean noticing irritation during a slow commute without letting it ruin your day, or witnessing a pang of anxiety without spiraling into worry. Tonight, watch your inner sky, letting thoughts drift by without chasing them. Acceptance and peace begin here. You turn inward on a journey of self-discovery, stepping into the quiet chambers of your own mind. This solitude isn't loneliness, it's a sacred space where you meet your true self. Think about the ancient hermits and ascetics across cultures who sought wisdom through isolation. The Buddha spent years in deep meditation in the forest before his awakening. Historians still argue whether his time in solitude was necessary or if community played a larger role in his enlightenment. Here's a quirky tidbit: some early yogis practiced holding uncomfortable postures for hours, combining solitude with physical endurance to deepen self-awareness. You realize that focusing on yourself means peeling back layers of conditioning and distraction. In silence, you confront your fears, hopes, and desires with honesty. It's challenging, but the reward is profound clarity. In everyday life, moments of solitude can be hard to find but incredibly valuable. Whether it's a quiet walk or a few minutes of meditation, these pauses nurture your inner growth. Tonight, embrace this inward journey. Let silence guide you to the center of your being. You settle into patience, feeling it like a slow, steady pulse beneath the rush of daily life. Patience is more than waiting. It's the deep acceptance of timing beyond your control, a trust in the unfolding process. Think of the Zen gardens in Japan, meticulously raked and arranged to invite contemplation over time. Historians still argue whether these gardens were primarily aesthetic or spiritual tools. Here's a quirky fact: some Zen monks practice tea ceremony rituals that take hours. Each movement deliberate and patient, turning time itself into meditation. You start to notice how impatience fuels frustration and clouds your focus. But when you lean into patience, you align yourself with the natural rhythm of growth and change. It's like waiting for a seed to sprout. You can't rush it, but you can tend the soil. In daily moments, practicing patience might look like breathing through a traffic jam without losing your cool, or giving yourself space when learning a new skill. This calm endurance strengthens your inner foundation. Tonight, breathe deeply and feel patience as a gentle guide leading you toward peace. You learn to detach from the external chaos swirling around you, creating a protective bubble where your inner silence can thrive. Detachment isn't coldness, but a clear-eyed choice to prioritize your peace over distraction. Consider the story of Siddhartha's renunciation, where he left palace comforts to seek truth beyond worldly noise. Historians still argue whether his renunciation was literal or symbolic of inner detachment. A quirky tidbit: some ascetics took detachment so seriously, they wore minimal clothing or lived in trees. Talk about extreme minimalism. You realize that external chaos, news, opinions, drama can pull you into turmoil unless you consciously step back. By focusing on yourself and staying silent, you build resilience against this pull. In daily life, detachment might mean setting boundaries on social media, choosing when to engage or withdraw from conversations, or simply pausing before reacting. Tonight, practice creating that inner calm, a quiet island amidst the storm, by letting go of what doesn't serve your peace. You anchor yourself in mindfulness, the gentle art of bringing full attention to this very moment without judgment. Mindfulness isn't about perfection, but about kindness toward your wandering mind. Think of Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Zen master, who taught simple breathing practices to cultivate peace. Historians still debate how much mindfulness was formalized in ancient Buddhist schools versus evolving over centuries. On a quirky note, Thich Nhat Hanh encouraged mindful walking, where each step is a meditation. Imagine turning your daily stroll into a slow dance with awareness. You notice how your mind often races ahead or dwells in the past, pulling you away from peace. Mindfulness grounds you, dissolving distractions into the present. In your daily life, this means savoring the taste of your food, feeling the texture of your clothes, or hearing the hum of the fan without planning or judging. Tonight, breathe slowly and bring your full attention to this moment, welcoming whatever arises with gentle acceptance. You begin to truly listen to yourself and to the world around you with a quiet openness born from your silence. Listening is no longer just hearing words, but tuning into the deeper rhythms beneath them. Think of the ancient Buddhist practice of deep listening, where monks listen not only to sounds, but to the feelings and intentions behind them. Historians still argue whether deep listening originated in Buddhist tradition or was influenced by older indigenous practices. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some meditative traditions use bell sounds or chanting to sharpen listening skills, turning noise into a tool for focus. You notice how when you stop speaking and truly listen, conversations shift. You understand more, react less, and connect more deeply. In your daily life, practicing listening might mean holding space for a friend without interrupting or sitting quietly to hear your own thoughts and feelings without judgment. Tonight, invite silence to enhance your listening. Let yourself be fully present to the subtle sounds and messages all around. You sense the gentle erosion of ego as silence softens the incessant chatter that fuels your sense of self-importance. In the stillness, the need for approval and control begins to dissolve, revealing a more spacious way of being. Think of the Buddhist teaching on anatta, or non-self, which invites you to see beyond the illusion of a fixed identity. Historians still argue whether this doctrine was a radical break from earlier Indian spiritual ideas or a development within them. A quirky note: some monks in ancient times would wear disguises or live anonymously to transcend ego attachment. Imagine attending a party as a ninja for spiritual reasons. You realize that your ego often drives reactions, anxieties, and the desire to dominate situations. Silence creates a gap where ego's grip loosens, and you respond with greater freedom and kindness. In daily life, this might mean noticing when your pride flares and choosing to pause rather than react defensively. Tonight, welcome the spaciousness that comes when ego quiets and true self shines through. You learn to trust your intuition, that quiet inner voice that speaks clearly only when the noise dims. Silence sharpens this wisdom, helping you navigate life's twists with clarity and confidence. Consider how ancient Buddhist teachers emphasized prajna, or wisdom, as essential for enlightenment. Historians still debate the balance between scriptural study and intuitive insight in early Buddhist communities. A quirky tidbit: some meditators describe sudden aha moments during deep silence, as if the universe whispers secrets when you're quiet enough to listen. You notice how distractions often drown out your gut feelings, leading to confusion and hesitation. But when you focus inward and stay silent, your intuition surfaces, guiding you toward choices aligned with your true path. In everyday life, this might look like pausing before decisions to check in with your inner knowing, or noticing subtle feelings that hint at the right direction. Tonight, breathe deeply and invite your intuition to speak softly but clearly from the depths of your silence. You find peace amidst turmoil by cultivating a silent refuge within yourself, a calm center, untouched by external chaos. This inner sanctuary becomes your anchor when life feels overwhelming. Think of the Buddha meditating under the Bodhi tree, surrounded by storms and distractions, yet remaining unmoved. Historians still argue whether this moment was literal or allegorical, but its symbolism endures. A quirky fact: some practitioners reenact this scene by sitting outdoors during rain or wind to train equanimity. Talk about dedication. You realize that external events may be beyond your control, but your inner response is your refuge. Silence doesn't mean ignoring problems, but holding them with calm acceptance. In your daily life, this might involve brief meditative pauses during stressful moments, or simply breathing deeply when tension rises. Tonight, imagine your mind as a still pond, reflecting the world without disturbance, holding peace despite the storm. You align your actions with your inner truth, finding clarity in silence that guides every step you take. When you focus inward, your choices become reflections of your deepest self. Consider the story of Siddhartha's transformation from prince to Buddha, a journey marked by shedding societal expectations to follow his authentic path. Historians still argue how much of this narrative is myth versus history. A quirky tidbit: some ancient texts describe the Buddha's enlightenment as a sudden flash of insight after years of silence and solitude. You notice how noise and distraction often pull you away from your true desires, leading to confusion and scattered efforts. Silence clears the fog, revealing your genuine intentions. In daily life, aligning with inner truth might mean choosing a career path that resonates with your values or setting boundaries that honor your well-being. Tonight, breathe deeply and let your inner wisdom light the way forward. You observe how your focused silence creates ripples that extend beyond you, influencing relationships and environments in subtle yet profound ways. Your inner calm becomes a quiet strength others can sense and rely upon. Think of the peaceful monastic communities that radiate calm energy, impacting even distant visitors. Historians still argue how much of this aura was natural versus cultivated through disciplined practice. On a quirky note, some monks develop laughing meditation, using joy and silence together to uplift their surroundings, a fun twist on the serious art of stillness. You realize that when you focus inward and maintain silence, you shift from reacting to responding, from chaos to harmony. This ripple effect can soften tensions, inspire calm, and foster understanding. In your daily life, notice how your mood and presence influence those around you. Small changes in your inner world can lead to big shifts externally. Tonight, feel your silent strength expanding outward, touching all who come near. You balance solitude and connection, knowing when to retreat inward for reflection and when to engage openly with others. This dance is essential for maintaining your centeredness while participating fully in life. Consider the Buddhist monastic calendar, which alternates periods of solitary meditation, retreats with communal rituals and teachings. Historians still argue whether this balance evolved naturally or was systematized for practical reasons. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some monasteries use drums and chanting to signal transitions between solitude and community, ancient crowd control, Buddhist style. You notice how too much isolation can lead to loneliness, while constant engagement drains your energy. Silence and focus help you find the sweet spot where both coexist harmoniously. In daily life, this might mean carving out quiet time for yourself while remaining present and open in your relationships. Tonight, breathe deeply and honor the rhythm between solitude and connection. You arrive at the natural harmony that unfolds when you focus on yourself and stay silent. In this space, everything begins to fall into place effortlessly, like pieces aligning in a quiet cosmic dance. Recall the teachings of the Buddha, who emphasized that liberation arises from deep self-awareness and inner stillness. Historians still debate whether enlightenment is a sudden awakening or a gradual process. A quirky tidbit: some practitioners claim to have experienced sudden moments of clarity during silent retreats, sometimes accompanied by spontaneous laughter, or tears, a reminder that silence can unleash unexpected emotions. You realize that by turning inward and embracing silence, you create the conditions for your life's flow to organize itself. The noise of distraction fades and clarity emerges. In daily life, this means trusting your inner guidance, embracing quietude, and letting go of the frantic urge to control outcomes. When you do, the universe responds in kind. Tonight, settle into this peaceful space, feeling the gentle order that arises when you focus within and listen deeply.